this thing on? Alright, we're ready to go. Yeah, what?
Talking about sewing.
Yeah, I would never sew something like this. My God, teach your kids how to sew.
I don't think we get many blokes.
And this started because we were talking about Bunnings. Hello.
Yeah, we did. I think we're on.
I think we're on.
1 o'clock. We're only 7 minutes late. I think.
7 minutes late. It's like a show. It's just a show.
Just another day in paradise.
Yes.
Or my favourite saying is, another 5 cents before tax.
I know. It's like, yeah. Well, 5 cents is not that much really at the end of the day, but still better than nothing.
You still get taxed on it, don't you?
Still get taxed on it,
Shitful.
and then it gets given out again.
So basically,
At about 7
2
cents.
steps back.
I know, right?
Belladose Music Studio, live again. Our weekly show. We're not doing a show. We're just talking about creative industry mentoring. The studio here is set up for songwriting. Any creative industry types that want to come in and write and record and do poetry or comedy or whatever you want to do, voiceovers, primarily for music. But we're here to try and share love and network with awesome creative types. And I just so happen to have one of the most unique creative types I think I've ever met as a human. I'm going to call you the author, the comedian, the mosher,
Oh, full Mosher.
the academic,
Academic, yep.
but overall cool human.
Oh.
Dee Faith, everyone.
You.
Say hello to Dee.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I know it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but giddy up to live streaming.
The thing is, the beauty of this is it will stay online.
Yep.
And if you've got any questions that you want to throw at us, we can always answer them later.
Send them through.
Yeah, but we want to talk about Dee. We want to talk about everything about Dee, everything we want to know and ask about Dee within the rules.
Within the rules.
Within the rules.
Social distancing rules,
Of course,
especially.
we've got 1.5 metre social distancing
Yeah.
happening here. It's a big lounge.
And
Doesn't look that
Belladose.
way.
No, no.
I go, you know, she said, I'm not happy with my costume today. I said, I've got a t-shirt you can have.
So I said I'll put on the t-shirt. So it's like, you know, when you paint a house, you renovate a house, and you start with the floorboards. Actually, no, you start with the skirting boards, and then you've got to paint the walls, and then you've got to go for the architraves, and then the ceiling. So that's what happened. I thought, oh, I had my Ugg boots on. So then I thought I'll put some real boots on, and then I went, oh, I'll change my jeans, and then I put on a leather jacket, and then I got here, and it's like, I think I've just painted the whole house, because, you know, hair, makeup, and next bit I said, I just want a t-shirt. So here we are, Belladose Music. Really cool studio here too, so if you're looking at doing any of that stuff, this is the place to go.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the early process. The studio's just been rebuilt as of over the summer, and of course we ran out of money. But, I mean, it's fully functional. There's a lot of little things we can do and add along the way. But, yeah, we're here to promote anyone that's creative. We're here to mentor people and creative types. I just thought of something really cool I'm going to do because we're talking about the shirts.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to ask
Can I stand up? So this is the man shirt.
a question. It is a man shirt. I've got to get a girl shirt.
Has it got anything on the back?
Yeah, I'll show you the back. I'm going to get a shirt, and I thought of something really cool. So, Dee, you got to talk to the camera.
All right.
I'm going to be like, I'm only going to get.
So at the moment, ladies, if you're looking for Belladose shirts, which are pretty funky, I reckon, they are not available in women's sizes at the moment. However, there will be an order going in, so if you want to order, just like jot on the dotted line. And we'll be soon bringing you back to your regular scheduled program.
Regular schedule. I'm back. You asked, here's a t-shirt.
Right.
So that's what we're looking at.
Creative industry mentoring without breaking the bank. And these guys have been awesome. I've been doing some editing, and Wes has been helping me out like a champion.
Yep.
Belladose Music.
BelladoseMusic.com. Jump on the website. There's all sorts of stuff about songwriting and the studio. And there's the back, dude. You wanted to see what was in the back.
Recording, mixing, mastering, music business, which Lenny is very good at, mentoring, songwriting, and who knew, you can write a song like up there with Paul Kelly, composition and creative industries.
Yeah. So what I thought was really cool when we were just talking about the t-shirt, I've actually got a few left, and I noticed there the other day we were at 490 likes.
490 likes.
And we've got there relatively quick. I mean, but you know, we're not a big studio. We're not the 301 or anything like that. But I reckon if we can get it to, I mean, 500 is like only 10 people away. So I reckon if we can get it, everyone up to like the page, let's get it to 550 likes. All right, share the hell out of it, and then we see that you've shared the page. As soon as we hit 550 likes, we'll draw one of those names out of the hat. All the people that share the website, share the page.
Sounds good.
I'll post you out a shirt.
All right, and if you while we're doing this, if you want to, we'll post this out with a shirt. If you
How cool's that?
I know, I wrote a book. It turns out I can string a sentence together. My daughter says to me the other day, you know, Mum, most people just have a diary and write things down, but it looks like you've gone the whole hog, and it's ended up in gimmicks. So go the Dickhead list. I was a bit angry when I wrote that book.
No, I don't. You're not an angry person. You don't have an ounce of anger.
Actually, I'm not an angry person. I was a disappointed person and hurt. And when you're hurt and disappointed, you kind of do things that are irrational. But the actual intention behind this book was actually to help people online dating. And I feel like after COVID, there's a part of me of this book that's just served its purpose and doesn't need to be revisited.
I think you should make a revised second edition and call it the COVID version.
The COVID
Boom,
version.
boom.
Boom, boom.
Ching,
Ching.
ching, perhaps.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm actually writing this at the moment. I'm still talking with Dimmicks, and like I don't know when the whole thing kind of who knows, like with COVID, but we're going to launch that nationally and do some shows with that, so that's going to be exciting for whenever that is. And next week the Wicco is got open mic, so hopefully that's still happening, and you know, we can go ahead because I'll get up and have a bit of a laugh. I've got some things I want to say.
I'm keen
Yeah.
actually. I mentioned that the other week. Let's get to the nitty gritty. For those that are watching or are going to watch it afterwards, my first question is, let's talk about Dee Faith. Let's talk about your origins. Let's talk about how you've come to be who you are today. So where you're from. But don't ask your age. I mean, you know, it doesn't.
I'm 47.
We're the same age.
47. 1973 vintage.
Oh, 72.
Yeah.
I'm a 72 vintage.
72.
Yeah.
Mate, all those years of the Holden were good years, I reckon.
Yeah.
I know.
Absolutely.
Damn shame about that.
Talk about Dee. Give us some insight about you.
So Dee Faith, I grew up on a farm. I grew up in a town in Western Australia, which is like a long way away from the big lights and big city of Sydney, which is kind of, you know, Newcastle's up the hill. But for a country girl, like I grew up having to drink sheep. Like we knew how to drive a car by the time we were 8. Like it was like we just grew up fast, and like it was one of those times as kids, because I had 3 next door neighbours that were boys and my brother who was a boy, and like back then it was just normal just to, actually I'm not going to talk about that live on.
No, but you did, like, because I grew up in a country town.
Yeah.
And your friends or your uncles or your aunts or your brothers and your sisters or even your dad would have a car in a paddock.
Yeah.
And that's how you learned to drive.
Dowies, eh? I can cut up. I spent my whole childhood learning how to cut up paddocks. Wow. That's what we do, and we had like the old 3 on the tree.
3 on the tree.
Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't know about that.
Bench seat, and like it was, you know, you had to double declutch on the way through to go through the gate and all the rest of it, and that's how we grew up. And like, as I said, I like grew up with all these, like the next door neighbours and everything, and you'd learn how to run fast because they'd throw bundies at you. They'd just hoik them, so you just had to grow up pretty quick in the country.
I've got one for you.
Yeah.
It's an old age saying, it doesn't matter what genre, but you can take the girl out of the country, but
you never take the country out of the girl. Yeah. I know, my mum and dad have spent a lot of money on my education. I don't know if they're going to get their return on investment back, but you know, we're aiming high. Each day's got to be better than yesterday.
So what we've got so far is you're from WA, you grew up in the country, And you learnt how to drive very early.
So we learned how. By the time I was 8, I had my first car accident from doing a cut up around a corner, and I hit a gum tree, which wasn't, it was not ideal. And we have these like CB radios, so you call back to mum and dad and be like, "Oh, mum, just come a crop around the corner. We're all right though."
There was no mobile phones or
no. And we had to walk like 7 kilometres to get home. Like that wasn't the end of it.
Just wrap up with a bit of a bandage and then you'd be right.
But we were all right. So we've sort of learnt how to do defensive driving, because all that grass, especially when it's wet, you kind of get real cool momentum, and that's one of my goals down the track, is to learn how to drift.
Well, I reckon you'd be a safe driver.
Yeah, I'm good.
Because you learnt how to drive.
Yeah, as a youngster, rounding up mobs of sheep. So Dee Faith, I remember when I was 4, because we grew up on ABC radio, right? There was only regional radio. Dun, 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 dun.
I find that humorous that we can actually still sing that. That's a good melody, isn't it?
It's a good melody, man. Like that's
great.
And I remember like they did the news, because they did the news, same format day in, day out, and Akadaka, Let There Be Rock came on the radio, and I would have just like, I think I was still in the I'm going to draw lipstick all over my mum's walls stage. You know that one where they,
Well, I didn't have lipstick years.
It didn't go down as well as. Who wants to be a white crayon? I mean, honestly. So I remember, listening to this Akadaka song and just going, "Oh, that's my people.
That's it.
That's it." At a really young age, and I remember thinking when I was 9, as good as I could drive and cut up, I was never going to be a country girl and stay in the country. I was just going to see what else was out there. So, I mean, it was pretty normal that, because the town was so small. Our high school was like, there was 30 kids tops, and so if you stayed, you either ended up with 7 kids by the time you were 20, or you went to the city. So I went to the city and went to boarding school, because that's what you did.
So I'm going to guess back then was when you first realised you are a creative type.
Oh yeah, full creative. Yeah.
And then Sydney come along.
And what came along?
The big smoke, boarding
So
school.
so I spent a fair bit of time, boarding school. Learnt how to jump over fences and smoke cigarettes in lanes, because that's what you do when you're a teenager, doing that sort of thing. But I remember jumping the fence this one time to go and see a band in Fremantle. So Freo, like where I went to school, was really close to Freo, and I mean, I remember the time there was a Pink Floyd concert that was at the Freo Oval, and you could hear it. This was like incredible. So I knew that whole music side of things was going to be part of my life, and then ended up going to after all that, ended up going up to uni and did a journalism degree. So I'm a journalist, and with that journalism degree, majored in drama. I mean, go figure.
No.
I know, right?
No.
And we'd actually do these plays and write music for these plays and everything. So it was like 4 years of doing that, and I was on the radio, like the community radio, and really cool times. And when I was at uni, that's when I met all these musos, right? So the Perth scene at the time, this was the same kind of time as like the Seattle-based music, like, Nirvana, all that sort of grunge scene. And then in Perth at the time, there was like Jebediah, Eskimo Joe, Beaver Loop, Something for Kate, like all of these kind of bands were coming out. The Waifs, John Butler Trio. The Waifs.
The Waifs. I've seen the Waifs.
Yeah, they're really cool. They're from Albany.
They were fantastic.
Yeah. So yes, it's like really ripe music in WA, and so from there, I think I might have just I met up with these guys at uni, and they were like into like heavy metal, so I ended up being band manager for 5 years. I worked at the West Australian music industry for that time, and then ended up at Planet Nightclub. So that was one of the best nightclubs at the time, and like Def FX were there, Radio Birdman, Sunny Boys.
Wow.
So I just got to meet all these really cool crew from like in my 20s when 20s gone.
When was that?
It's like 17 years ago now.
Feels like yesterday for me.
Feels like.
I wanted to be happy. The gym made me happy. Not that I'm not happy, but then in the end I was like, you know what? Who cares? Like, just be happy and healthy and eat well and just enjoy life. You enjoy life, don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm a goer. Yeah, I'm happy about that. But I exercise. I train 6 days a week, and I go for a walk most days because it's not. I mean, it helps out with your body because I used to be a full fat chick, so it's really good that I've kind of got myself into size 10 jeans, and like that whole 30s, like because I was a mum in my 30s, like that's like a whole decade just wiped. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't as productive as what I really wanted it to be. So. Yeah, the gym though is as much as it is physically. It's like I've got to do it for my mental health because can't go out and mosh like the whole dancing, getting up like at the Wicco. Like
we actually could be dancing right now. That's how they promote creative industries at the moment. I mean, and look, we can't help what's going on, but you know, you can still go and see whatever creative types are out there. They're mainly soloists, but the only form of dancing.
Yeah,
what you're doing is tapping your foot.
Yeah,
on those ones. But anyway, we're gonna get back there.
Yeah. We're just gonna keep supporting each other, really. So, I mean, that's the whole reason, and I guess we're going to talk about this as well. But last year we went to TAFE, so I went to TAFE. I met Lenny and like all the crew, Mark Wells, David Brown, Dr. David Brown. Or Marcus Wright, is, you know, like all these really cool creatives. Tom in engineering. What's Tom's role there?
Tom was our IT super guru.
Oh, he's just a legend.
He's technically gifted.
Yeah.
He's actually done some work in here for me at the studio.
Yeah, right.
So he's a super cool guy and covered in tattoos, and he's the most humble human you could ever meet.
Yeah, it's cool dude.
Yeah. Big shout out to Tom.
Yeah, big shout out to Tom.
We miss you, buddy. We miss you.
Yeah. And so from that, we learned how to podcast. So I did a podcasting course because I really wanted to promote the Dickhead list. So that was why I started the podcast, like learn how to do all this and met you and learn about copyright and all that kind of stuff. And I was, so, and then Muso's Corner, how cool Muso's Corner, another shout out. Muso's Corner got the Rogue podcaster. Yep. So that's all set up and then got the mics and just thought, you know what? I was missing music. I was like dancing around in my garage. I went, I'm gonna like invite, because a lot of musos like are my buddies too. So I thought I'll just get the crew over and we'll just play a song, and it's pretty cool. It's kind of, it's good. Keep that creative outlet happening.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the show shortly.
Yeah.
And give it a big plug for you. But I just want to go back because you've given us a good insight about doing, you know, in a rounded nutshell. But that's not the whole story. How did the creative D come about? I mean, obviously the AC/DC thing was like, bingo, I want to be a part of something like that. But when did you find your creativity? Because I grew up on a farm, and we grew up 30 kilometres out of the main town, and I didn't want to hang out with the boys all the time. They hurt me. So I just spent a lot of time just writing and dreaming and looking at the clouds. So I kind of had like this upbringing that even though there were people around you, there was always that room to think and be creative. So I was an artist for a long time, like art. I lived in Broome for ages and like painted buses, like murals on buses that would go around the countryside. I'll tell you what, could you paint that? Do you reckon you could paint a big mural?
Yeah,
I've got a job for you.
Have you?
Paid job. I'll tell you about it. We'll come back to what we're talking about. But I saw this image on social media the other week on Facebook where someone had this massive property and they had this big shed and they had this big grey iron. What do we call it? The not the framing, but
the framework.
Colour bond.
The
colour bond. It's just grey, and they were sick of looking at this grey shed, and they got this artist in. I think the property might have been in Queensland. They got an artist in to come and paint this massive mural on the side of the shed. I'm talking, it's probably a good 10 metre by 3.5 metre high thing, and he painted this awesome country theme on the side of the shed. It looks like it just blends in.
Yeah.
It's on property, so you probably couldn't do something like that in suburbia. But now that I know that, we're sort of in suburbia, but we're in the country. We've got
great spot here.
Beautiful views out the back, and bingo, win-win.
Yeah,
so this
fun.
has worked out for everyone.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool,
I'm a full creative, and I think that's why it's taken me to 47 to kind of actually get some of my skills together and really. you know, harness and help other people as well. So
Yeah.
that's where that's all sort of come from.
No, I think you're awesome.
Thanks. I think you're awesome too, Lee.
No, but you're right when you say that. It takes a long time for people to really, really work out who they are. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to any human being, but you grow up and you're young and it's all about partying and spending your money. And then you go, shit, I've got no money, I better become responsible. So then you got to go, I need some stability. And then when you've got stability, you go, I better learn how to save some money.
Yeah.
And then you realise...
And you've got an adult.
And then you might have a... Adult.
I know.
But then you got to work out who you are. I reckon it takes all that time.
Tough
to
gig,
really
getting
work
into.
out who. I was talking to the guys last week from Spies.
Yeah.
Spy versus
I know,
Spy.
Spies
And
last
speaking
week,
of creative
Dee
type,
Faith.
Dean Reynolds is an amazing artist.
He is.
Look up Spies, the new Spies. Check out Dean Reynolds and check out some of his artwork. Oh, man, he's awesome. Anyway, so what I said to the guys, it took me a long time to work out who I was as a musician.
Yeah.
Because I've always been creative. I've been playing guitar since I was like 10 or 12. And, you know, I couldn't shred, I couldn't play. And then I ended up going to uni and doing all that sort of stuff. And then in the end, I was like, oh, you know, you get nervous about watching that bloke play or that person sing and that band's awesome and you're not. And in the end, I went, you know what? Screw that. I am who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm a musician and I'll be who I want to be. And if I'm not that good, it doesn't matter. As a creative type, this is who I am. It's
just your soul.
Yeah, and you sort of come to a point in your life where
Yeah.
you've worked out, hey, I can give back to the community. And that's when I think when you work out who you are.
Yeah,
you can provide
yeah.
something to give back. That's when...
Yeah. And I think, like, when you kind of have a bit of a hit, like a bit of a...
Yeah.
When you get one of those and you don't see it coming and it kind of, there's like, it knocks the wind out of your sails, but it gives you a different perspective. And it goes, you know what, there comes a point, if not now, when.
Yeah.
Like, if not now, when. So I don't know, I'm just giving it a crack.
But we haven't grown up. Because
No,
you don't have to
yeah,
grow
getting
up.
older
You don't have to
is
grow up.
mandatory.
If you
Growing
haven't grown
up is
up
optional.
before you're 50, you don't have to grow up.
Oh,
until
is
you're
that
50.
right?
And I
I've
haven't
got
grown up yet.
Okay,
I
got
think
3
I'm
years
not
to go.
growing up.
Righto.
Because once I get 50, it's over.
Yeah, no, I reckon it just keeps going. How's J-Lo? You see J-Lo? She's just going from strength to strength.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I just think.
So we've talked about D, we've talked about a little bit about everything and your creative type. I think one of your recent creativities is the Dickhead list. Grab your book.
Alright, so
You're an author.
ridiculous.
You're an author. So you
Yeah.
did journalism. You did
So,
a
it
bachelor-
turns out I can string a sentence together, right? And I was like a poet, and even in my 20s when I was hanging out in like doing my band management stuff, that was so much fun. Like ended up backstage with the Henry Rollins band and Tool and like these. I mean, Perth, like for anyone to go there live is a big deal for starters. So you make sure you're there. Like it's really cool live music scene. And I lost my track of thought. But yeah, so it turns out I can string a sentence together. So when I wrote this actually, like, I called it the Dickhead list, right, because the URL was available. But you know what, there's the, bucket list, there's the list, and then there's the Dickhead list. So I've got this very big print, so you don't have to wear glasses.
Yeah, well, I've got contacts, and I reckon I probably still need a magnifying glass because I'm as blind as that.
Yeah. I reckon if I could, I probably would write it again a bit differently if I did, so I will bring out a...
Can I read an excerpt from that? Can I just open it up? I'm just going to pick any page. Can I read something?
Alright then.
Hey? And we'll see how well she strings a sentence together.
Alright, let's see how...
We just logged onto this page, page 85. This is my friend's text. Although she has been on and mostly off online dating over the years, this is pretty typical of the responses and general conversations going on in the cyber world. There it is, that's a good sentence. Right, fair crack of the whip, guys.
Fair crack of the whip, guys.
We are not your wham bam thank you ma'ams. We're dead set, had enough. Alright, I'll stop there because that could go anywhere.
So I was on a rant at that point, but I think I called it the Dickhead list. I could have called it how to be a better human on the planet, but I didn't think it would like get the same kind of response. And the thing with this book is like to promote it, like even on Facebook or anything, they're not going to promote it because it's got profanity and it's known to be a rude word.
So don't they have like the little expletive thing that you see on CDs.
Well, what's
and
the
albums.
best-selling book at the moment? The Subtle Art of Not Giving a. So
We can say that on this show.
I know we can, but you know what? I thought I'm not going to swear less.
Yeah, I tried. I tried not to swear last week's show.
If you give me a Bud Dude Coke,
I've actually got a really nice brewing anyway.
oh, I've got to go to the gym this afternoon, which is why I'm not drinking at the moment.
Now this is awesome. So, when did you write it?
So the thing is, I wrote this. I had a rough trot last year, which is kind of what the book was about. But like, I just took my eye off the ball. I got slapped. Like, it's just I didn't come off very well. But anyway, my fault, my responsibility. So my publisher, not my publisher, my mentor, Rachel Birmingham, who wrote the 4 Ingredients, she says, Dee, you know what happens after you write a book? And I'm like, what? She goes, well, you got to promote it. I'm like, huh? Like, I had no idea. I just thought you just write a book, just let everything go, lighten the load. And then next minute she goes, you got to promote the book. And I went, oh, okay. And I'm kind of that chick that was like always a bit funny around the fireplace. You know, like I was just a bit of an accidental comedian. And then when we did the book launch, which was so cool, there was like 125 ladies. We went to the beaches at beaches, which is John and Linny have sold, but it was the best turnout. Had a lot of fun, and that was the taste of it. Like that was it. And then I just went from there. Ended up in New Zealand. Did a keynote speaking over New Zealand with another book I was with called I Said No. And then from there was in a magazine. And from that magazine, ended up being a keynote speaker up at the Gold Coast at the Hilton with Y-Mag. And then from there, my cousin was going to get married in Western Australia. So I thought, I might as well bung in a couple of shows while I was over there. And then did 3 shows while I was over there. And I don't know, just it's a bit of fun.
Yeah, you had a couple of runner shows you told me about, and you were going to be playing in Brisbane. And my sister was up there, and I actually mentioned it to her to go and see you. And I told you I was going to tell her to guess, and then gone.
Yeah.
Everything just got shut down.
Yeah, well it did. And also October last year, unfortunately my dad passed away in November, which was just like, for anyone who's lost a parent, it was tough. So I actually did the Fringe Festival as well in February, and I didn't want to do it because I was just not in the headspace. But during that time, we did some filming with Sean McAuliffe. And Sean's such a cool guy. So the reason why we got in contact with Sean is because I did this, because I support Cancer Council, and I've done some free events for them before, just speaking and whatnot, because it's such a worthy cause and we're all affected by that. So did this talk at the Walls End Library, and from that got nominated to go to the ABC, so that they called and said, do you want to go on a show with Sean McAuliffe? And it was like, oh, yeah, all right, what's it about? And it was about how chicks are just taking over blokes drinking too much.
Really?
Yeah, so alcoholism in women has gone up like instrumental. I don't know what the statistics are. I'd put a post on Facebook, so I'm not going to do that anymore. But if I was a statistical person, women are drinking more than men at the moment, I guess, for a whole lot of reasons. But that was the premise of the show, and they rang up after COVID had finished and asked if I wanted to be in the sequel part. And I went, nah, man, because I don't drink anymore. Like, COVID's just, I'm cured.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool outcome from COVID. Just not drinking as much.
I can't say the same.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I'm
Hey,
not promoting that sort of thing, but you've got to know if you've got an addictive personality when to stop. A lot of people do. I've got an addictive personality, but if you can stay stop, then stop.
Yeah.
If you can't stop, then go seek help.
Yeah, that's it. You just got to seek help. And like with that whole thing, like last year, I actually did seek a lot of help. I went and saw a lot of healers. I went and saw a lot of like people to help me get back on track. And I'm not ashamed to even say that out loud, because I needed help at the time. I was not in a good place. I was in a really dark place. And I thought, you know what, the best way to help yourself is by helping other people. And I just thought, well, this is time to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My biggest one's KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
When you're doing too much and you take too much on, or life's absorbing too much of the normality, you got to drop it and tell people, just say, no,
Yeah.
I can't help you right now, I've got to help myself.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
simple, stupid.
Yeah.
So we've got the book, the Dickhead list. That's great. I'm going to write a song. I want to.
The Dickhead list,
Yeah. How did you approach the writing process of the Dickhead list?
So for all of those, if you're looking at writing a book, I guess I haven't really written a song, but it's kind of does have a structure and a bit of a format. So to start with the book, like there was a couple of things I want to get off my chest. That's not,
Let's do it.
So what you do is, this is what I did. I got post-it notes and I put down, like for each kind of topic that I thought of, I put post-it notes and I came up with 15 kind of topics that I thought were relevant. And from those post-it notes, then you kind of expand out your thinking as to what that can cover. And then once you've got what you can cover as an outside thinking, then you kind of pin it back again. So each chapter actually is its own sort of story. Like this is like a Netflix book. Like you can pick this up and read it in 5 hours. It's a really cool book, like as far as that's concerned. So
I'm going to read it.
It took me 3 months to write it. I got made redundant because I'm a property valuer. So I got made redundant at the end of 2018, and they gave me like 15 grand or something. So I was like, whoa, that'll last me 3 months. Like realistically speaking, that's pretty cool. I can live on that. So that's when I wrote the book, and then yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like there was a whole lot of stuff that went on, but basically, like it's a pretty cool accomplishment. This is actually my 3rd book. So I've been in 2 other books, like compilation
Which they are.
So when I was married in my 30s, I had oh, it was so cute. I had this business called So Funky, which taught kids how to sew.
Right.
Yeah.
We were talking about sewing.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't. Actually, my mother taught me how to sew.
It's a big deal,
It's like,
sewing. It's a
you know,
lost art.
I've got short legs,
Yeah.
and I was like, Mum, can you sew the hems of my jeans?
Yeah.
I haven't got time, son, and you do it yourself. So I just
Learn how to do it.
And then in the end, middle-aged sort of type thing, I'd go to my wife. In the end, I used to get scissors and cut them off and just let them hang. I thought it looked cool. And then
easier.
all the shops would have all these jeans with no hems on.
Yeah. Started trendsetter.
I missed it.
Yeah.
I missed the boat. I did.
There you go.
So the process for writing the book, similar to you mentioned about the post-it notes. We've got a massive big post-it note right here we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But post-it notes and then elaboration. It's a little bit like songwriting. Studying songwriting, and there's a cool dude out there in the world. If people don't know Pat Patterson, look him up, write song lyrics and all of that awesome stuff. He's a Berkeley lecturer.
Wow.
He talks about a similar thing. He talks about the process of writing a song. He talks about boxes.
Yeah, pigeonholing stuff.
Yeah, so you start with a box, and the information from that box should overflow into the larger box, which gives you like the verse, the next verse, and a more elaborate process of the box. And then you go into the next bigger box, which really should be like your chorus process and where you sort of give away what's going on in the song, but then you come back into the next verse, which sort of unfolds the storyline. So the post-it note is a cool way to go about it. There's another girl, a lady online, who talks about writing in bubbles, in circles, and then all those circles get put into a bigger bubble.
Yeah,
so
okay.
It's the same type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer of the magic of the power to the pen to the paper. Firm believer. So, like, I literally, I believe that if you're actually even thinking it, you should be doing it. Like, there's a thought process in that. But to actually seal the deal is to write it down. Yep. So that's what we've been doing this week.
We're going to look at that in a minute.
Okay.
We are going to look at this massive big post-it note. And we've got a connection somehow to that. I think we have. The Middy Show. What's going on there?
Well, the Middy Show, it started out actually because I'm on this casting website called starnow.com, right? So I'm on there and like I'm just putting it out there to the universe, right? So anyway, this director like private messaged me and he was like, we really like your look, we like your style. I don't think they knew quite the level of how bogan. I didn't know they kind of got that sort of thing, but I can be charming when I need to, right? And he came, he like messaged me and goes, we're doing an audition for a TV host for a show. Would you be interested in, you know, giving it a crack? So I was like, yeah. Put some makeup on, did my hair, you know, painted the house, and then went down to Sydney and caught up with him. And really cool guy, and he's done some major like Optus TV commercials and some other things like that. So he said that I was really cool and he liked my look, but I didn't have enough followers. And I was like, oh.
And what we're doing right now is we're helping promote you and your program, and it's a bit of give and take. We're networking the studio, we're networking Dee Faith, we're networking the Dickhead list, now we're networking the Middy Show.
And the Middy Show is actually about, it was the same sort of format, like, and I thought, you know what, I don't care about followers, I don't care if there's 2 people that like the show. If I'm helping one person, that's a good day, right? And thought, like, put it out there, chew the fat, and then because music is so uplifting, it was like, well, that's why we came up with the Middy Show. And the Middy Show is basically, you know, tune in midday, midnight, midlife, or right now.
Cool catchphrase.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks.
But what you're actually doing with that is you're actually promoting Australian musicians.
I'm like, I really kind of like the idea of having a countdown.
Molly Meldrum,
a bit of countdown. Like, Australia needs a show that's like that. I mean, like, who knows what's going on with COVID and the rest of it. And as I say, music's so cool. You musicians freaking rule the world. So
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. Musicians rule the world.
how many times you wake up in the morning and you put on your favourite song to get you in the mood for the day?
Yeah.
Kings and Queens.
I got a tattoo on my arm that was quoted from my nan, and it says, "Music is the last thing to leave your soul before you die."
Oh,
And I stand by that.
It is.
Absolutely. The musicians ruling the world. Didn't we hear a rumour through the week, tongue in cheek, I think it might have been, Kanye wants to become the president or run in the presidential race in America. Let's not go there, we're talking about Australia. But he's some form of musician.
and I am promoting Australian music. I think we should shop local, buy local, support small business, support live music. I think we should be more encasing of our own. Like, we've got so much talent, like, right here in our backyard. So
Again, we spoke about that last week with the Spot Boys from the Spies. I think it's an opportune time with no festivals happening and gigs are low, that when we build it, we should build it back with our little post-it notes and grow on that and really support Australian creatives.
yeah, it's
Music, comedians, theatre, whatever it needs to be.
Yeah.
Let's concentrate on us and put some money back in their pockets instead of taking the overseas content, which is great, by the way.
yes,
There's nothing wrong, because look at this, Alter Bridge.
yeah.
This album, I mean, I love Alter Bridge, but he wrote a book with this. I've got the book as well. But I mean, you know, let's do that for Australian people. Let's support
Keep
Australian
uplifting Australians.
artists, absolutely.
Yeah, because those Aussies are cool, man.
Dee, this is just flowing off your tongue. It's just a natural. Right?
And
It's really good.
Oh, thank you. And like, can I just go back to, like, when I was living in Kojonup, I knew I was always going to end up in Newcastle. I just knew it. There was something about Newey that I was always. I remember backpacking, like, down, like, in my 20s, coming through Newey and catching a couple of bands then, going, this is, like, Newey is the Mecca. And I've been here for 17 years now. Never going to be a local, but I
reckon that
17 years is fair crap. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about music, I mean, you mentioned earlier about growing up with the boys and having to try and find your own niche and do your girl thing, and being creative was one of them. And then you mentioned about getting into the music scene over there. Did you actually play an instrument, or did you sing, or in the shower did you sing? You know, did you have a musical voice?
Yeah. So because I grew up on a farm, we did ballet, so that was my kind of music. Like, did that, and then I learnt piano. No, I never did that on the stuff.
Okay.
So, but I'm a dancer. So, but I've up to 4th grade piano. Like, I know how to read music. I was in a couple of bands myself in my early 20s, just mucking around. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty good at singing Proud Mary at karaoke.
Awesome. You know, I'm going to put that.
But I don't know any second verse ever. Like, I just don't. Like, that's when I'm mosh. I'm the mosher. That's when I'm moshing, because I don't know any second verse ever.
It's awesome when you're on stage, you perform, especially when you're in a pub and the crowd's right in your face. Back before you could, when you could be right in people's faces, and then they're singing and they sing in front of you and they're going, and then it gets to the chorus and they know every word of the chorus.
Yeah.
And then it comes back and they go, it's
Yeah.
the funniest thing ever, eh?
It is
You try
funny.
not to laugh when you sing it. This is great.
I know, yeah.
So you're one of them.
Yeah, I don't know any second verse ever. And the words I don't know, I just make them up.
So the way around that is you're talking about you write things down. If you wrote a song down from start to finish 3 times, I think you could remember the words.
Yeah. Well, I remembered my slogan. That's a good start.
Yeah. So awesome. So you can play, you can read music.
Yeah, can play.
Cool. I need someone to play some piano.
Oh, actually, that's what I play piano.
Because what we're actually doing here in the studio too is, we can source session musicians. We can help compose. People could probably just write lyrics and not have music to go to it. We can provide session musicians. We can do it here. Wes is a good musician.
Yeah.
And compose stuff. So if you've got stuff out there and you want to put it together, we can piece together some awesome session musicians and make your lyrical content or poetry come to life. Or it could be the other way. You could be awesome at music and you might need some literature. So, pretty cool with words.
Yeah.
I've got a challenge for you. Actually.
Okay, challenge.
Challenge for you. I reckon we're going to write a song together.
All right, challenge accepted. I love all of that. Like anything that you can do, if you've got the divine seed to do it, you should just do it.
Yeah. Punch it out. Get it done. The book. Let's go back to the book. I've got a couple of quick questions here for you on the book. What have been the highlights since you released the Dickhead list? Based upon the book.
Based upon the book.
What have been the highlights?
Well, this is a little bit dark and heavy, but I remember I've had a lot of women that have been in domestic violence situations that have rung me up and said that your book has helped me from that. I'm really if people need help or whatever, you just PM me. I've got that many people that kind of just PM me if they're having a rough day. Or whatever, and I'm happy to do that because there's some stuff in the book that's pretty heavy hitting and it's real life, everything about it's real. Can't get any realer than what goes on in the Dickhead list, So I've had a lot of people it's been really cool, that side of things, just that people have been...
Yeah, you've touched someone enough to be able to help them.
Yeah, to help them and change their trajectory and... I know, this one lady was getting seriously hurt, so I just said to her, just shave your hair off, and then that way, it's not going to hurt you as much. So, just these little things really help, and I'm really passionate. And with my property valuation side of things, one of my goals is to actually have access, whether it's 2 people's houses where I can actually look after people that are in situations like that. Because I've had domestic violence as well, so it hurts. You don't want to. Yeah. So it's good to be able to help.
I guess to be able to help someone, you have to have experienced it.
Yeah, and I reckon a lot of the stuff that I've gone through is so I can actually get it from not from a school, and I learned it from a textbook. Been there, done that. It hurt.
And you probably just answered it, but I have here any reflections on the book that carry more weight than others. That's probably a very weighted subject matter, but is there anything else that carries a bit of weight from the book?
Well, one of the things I talk about in the book, and it comes a lot from my friend Victoria, whom I love dearly. She's just my best friend, Victoria Beckham. No.
Are you friends with?
Out of all of the Spice Girls, I think Victoria Beckham would be the girl that I'd least want to be friends with. I'm probably more of a Jerry Halliwell.
Yes, that's the video.
She was funner, she was pretty cool. So, Victoria, her and I, we go by the 3-date rule. And the 3-date rule is probably one of the best things out of the Dickhead list because it gets you out of a whole lot of strife. How many times have you ended up having a one-night stand and next minute you're married to them? And they're still there. So I think the 3-date rule is really important if, if you're looking for a relationship or if you're looking to kind of grow yourself, and maybe, have some self-worth and whatnot. The 3-date rule is definitely a goer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And that applies to the blokes as well.
Yeah, and the bloke. Well, if the girls stop giving themselves away, the boys try a bit harder.
Absolutely. I remember when I was trying to court my wife all those years ago. We probably had a few dates. I think we wanted a few dates before I fell head over heels. But
yeah, that's cool. Courting, I think, because you only get a small window of that real nice little bubble of honeymoon bliss. So I think that's the 3-date rule is very cool. Victoria, go you.
Yeah. That's awesome. We're about to get to the post-it note in a minute. I'll discuss future happenings for Dee Faith. I just want to ask you a couple of personal questions.
Okay.
Right, they're not that deep and personal. And I'm not going to ask you on a date.
Yeah. Well, I have like if you want some deep and personal stuff, just go behind the book.
Who's your favourite band?
Akadaka.
Akadaka. From day one, that was it.
From that my first concert I ever went to was Metallica, and then actually Faith No More, Metallica, and U2, BB King. They're my first 3 concerts.
Yeah, right.
So that set the bar pretty high.
Wow.
And like I went through that whole Sepultura stage. I went hardcore, and then but I just so that's definitely one of my favourite bands, which like I was unexpected, was Icehouse. I thought they did a really good live show by the sea a couple of years ago. That was an outstanding concert. And like I'm that chick, because I'm 5'2". I'm that chick that I'm always down the front. Right, like I don't care how long it takes me to get there. I'm down the front. Like, and you know, like it hurts a bit more than it used to, yeah, I'm that chick. So I've seen heaps of. I just love it. Live music's just the heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
music in general, I'd be lost without it.
And I've seen Akadaka a few times, so that's good. I saw the Thunderstruck tour. I was really disappointed Kiss didn't play. I would have liked to seen Kiss at the Supercars.
Yeah, I had tickets. We had tickets.
Yeah, we had tickets. Like we all had tickets.
Yeah, I think big. Well, no, I won't go there. But a lot of people bought tickets to the Supercars to go see Kiss.
Yeah, especially.
That was the only reason.
Really
that was a really good marketing ploy, but it sort of backfired big time.
Yeah, and it's not even on this year. Supercars isn't even on, so that's.
Yeah, I saw Kiss. I actually was in the bleachers. I've seen them once. Acer Arena in Sydney. And there was nothing behind me but a concrete wall. They looked like the little figurines you used to buy.
When you got your Macca's drive-through.
Yeah, they looked about that big, and so I spent most of the show watching. Like, you hear it great. I mean,
yeah,
Kiss were cool. We all had our face painted at some stage.
Yeah.
Actually, we got dressed up as Kiss on my 30th birthday.
Love that.
It's the only time in my life I reckon the females, and probably blokes too, I don't know, were touching my ass all night because we had that. We all were wearing the lycra.
Yeah, we all
talk to Leader off about dressing up in lycra.
I mean, Kiss was so cool. Like growing up. Yeah, I talk to Lee about.
Talk to Lee about dressing up in lycra.
Well, we will. Yeah, I mean, like back home where I grew up, like there was the City Beach Boys, and the City Beach Boys in Perth, like Pugs. He was full into his Kiss, and I remember at that stage, like he was the drummer of a band. There were a band called the Renegades, and Jay Ando, and like Dave Riley, I think Chris Brown, and like that was when live music, it was just on from there.
Yep.
Alison Burke, you go girl.
Awesome. What about local?
Justin.
We talk about local
Justin
musicians.
Naricki is.
He's a freak. We're going to get Justin in here. I spoke to Justin the other week. We're going to get Justin in the studio and talk all things Justin Naricki.
Oh my God, Justin Naricki. So like Spies was last week, it's me this week. And Justin Naricki,
what about a talented mofo?
Oh, yeah, he's just next level.
1 minute he's on the Skins.
He's like the Australian Lenny Kravitz.
And then he's singing. And he's
cool.
the guitar, and he's on the bass, and he's playing the drums and the little synth at the same time.
I know.
And singing.
Freak.
Yeah, multi-talented. Big shout out to Justin Naricki.
Yeah,
if you're
Justin
watching,
Naricki. Oh yeah, there's his shows. Spies. I don't think I've missed Spies show.
Yeah, they got one coming up on Saturday night.
Yeah,
sold out.
Going there on Saturday at the Wico.
I'm not sure if it's been streamed or not, but if it is, you should tune in and watch the boys, the new Spies.
Yeah, but any live music, like there's, they're all great.
I got 2 favourites at the moment, Australian artists. So pretty diverse because I don't really care anymore. I can listen to opera, I can listen to thrash.
Oh yeah, I'm into all genres.
Got a couple of good mates that play in the Viper Creek band.
Oh yeah, they're good.
The Country Boys, Damo and the lads, and actually all of them. Well, no, really well. Actually, James played drums on my last track.
Yeah, okay.
That I released. Damo and Jeremy went to uni with Jeremy. They're all really good. Rubes, the Viper Creek Boys, love those guys. But at the moment, I'm writing to Take My Soul, and I haven't had a chance to see them live because COVID hit and it got shut down. I was going to go to the Hamo show with them and Where the Devil were going to be on it, so it was a big heavy metal night, and I hadn't done that for a while, but I'm really digging Take My Soul. I'm not into Screamo, but there's something about them. Local boys doing really good. Got good things planned, so I'm looking forward
I'll go check them out too.
I'm looking forward to music coming back.
Yeah.
They're on my hit list to go see. when shows come back on.
I mean, like Powwow, they're a really fun band to dance with. I really like those guys. They've got some,
Just music in general makes you feel
it's
good.
all
Doesn't
good.
it?
Just gets up and dance and I love your drummers, Cliff out of the Spies. I tell you what, when he gets going, he gets this cheeky little smile happening, and then like us Moshers up the front, we're just freaking on it.
Air drum.
Oh
You
yeah.
got air drums.
Oh yeah, I'm great at air anything. Hair and hair.
Awesome. All right. What about a personal favourite song? Such the hardest question ever.
Oh, first, I guess a song always gets anchored to a time in your life. Like if I sort of looked at back when I was 16, Stairway to Heaven was like a big one, Led Zeppelin. Like, out of all the Led Zeppelin songs I know. But I think...
Custard Pie. That's my theme song on my phone.
Is that...
It's just such a great group.
Yeah, I mean, they're all good, yeah. Favourite song of all time, I guess. It's Let There Be Rock, Eka Daka. Like I played it like on repeat from my house to here today. So yeah, I'm just that's just.
So hang on a minute, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Oh. You don't remember any of the second verses. How can you not remember the second verse in that? If you we'll do an acoustic version. We'll see if you remember all the words.
All right, yeah.
Not now.
God, challenge
Not now.
accepted.
That's awesome. I reckon we should go to the post-it note because you've been doing a bit of study.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, because he's my teacher.
I had a little bit to do with some of your units and some of your work. And you've got this massive... I don't know how well can we see that, Wes? We're going to talk about it anyway. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it. She can point. We're going to do the whole teacher thing. Do you want a ruler or something?
We're going to...
That's all right. But we've got this big post-it note on the wall of all things happening in Dee's world.
But it's just because my brain's not as good as it used to be, and I've got to write it down. If it's not written down, it literally gets forgotten. So it's just really basic stuff, and people do this on calendars and stuff, but it just doesn't work for me. So
what Dee's got hanging on here, it's the biggest post-it note ever. It's actually the biggest timeline I've ever seen, and she was encouraged to do a timeline for a specific unit of stuff. And she's gone and done it. I mean, it's fantastic. When you walked in here, you've got this big scroll. I thought it was going to be some big picture or some bit of artwork you've done. And you've done a timeline right up to November. So you want to talk to all the listeners out there. What's going on with Dee Faith?
All right.
Middy Show.
So the Middy Show, what we've done is because I'm a single mum, so I've still got my kids and responsibilities. So what we do is we film kind of every 3 weeks. So good. So we filmed Lenny, and we filmed Nick Rashke. That was a great interview. The Osprey Band, who are on Triple J's Unearthed, they've just been unearthed. And Chase Mackay, Jacqueline Tuck.
Yep.
And Phoenix Pritchard, who's with Apache. And so basically I know exactly when they're coming on. I also know, to do some promos. It's just there. It's just.
Can I read some stuff out you've got up here?
Oh yeah.
I think some cool stuff on here, right? You've got some keynotes. We're to speak in April. They've got moved to October, so let's hope that one goes ahead.
Oh yeah.
The keynote press.
Yep.
16 days to lose 5 kgs.
Yeah, I've been on the chocolate.
You've been on the chocolate.
So if I don't eat chocolate, I can actually lose 5 kilos.
Are you a chocolate connoisseur?
Oh, I love all sorts of chocolate. Like sometimes I go to my cupboard and I want to get the dark chocolate, and I go, no, I'm not hungry.
My wife, I reckon, I don't know if anyone can, but my wife is the chocolate queen of Australia. She just knows it. Like, she pick up this rubbish. She's very sort of can't eat it.
Yeah, I not like red.
I'll eat anything.
Yeah.
Wes is in the control room telling me that he's the chocolate king of Australia. You know where
in
you got it from.
family.
He knows where he got it from.
Yeah.
What else you got here? You've got some percussion and some session stuff, some backdrops.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got it all laid out. So from July 10,
which is when I started the timeline.
I see some cool names you got here.
So Tex Perkins is coming to town on the weekend. I'd really like to interview him. Tex, if you're watching.
Yeah, we can make these things happen, mate.
Yeah.
The Spies.
Tex. I'm like Tex with B Suburban and Cruel Sea. But I remember going to the Wembley Hotel in Perth, and it's not dissimilar to the Cambo. It's and you're up the front and you're going hard. Tex Perkins. Oh, he didn't love Tex Perkins.
And he's tall, isn't he?
Oh, Tex Perkins, need to say no anymore.
Tom's away.
Yeah, so Tom's going away this weekend. We're meant to film this weekend.
You got a comedy gig coming up.
Well, hopefully.
There's a big nudge. Let's talk about that one.
The comedy act. I've got a couple of things I want to say. So it's actually a bit more scripted. I've actually, because, COVID, I've actually written some stuff down. But I'm also on a podcast. I'll be in a podcast in New Zealand that day. So just with this thing, if you have something that you want to do, just give it a shot. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Looks like you got yourself a wardrobe happening.
Oh yeah, so Tracy Bevo, love Trace. She's we're doing a photo shoot. So anyone that's actually been on the Middy Show already, you're welcome to come to the studio on Sunday the 26th, and we'll just take some photos for you, because any of the stuff that we actually do for the Middy Show, the artist can keep it as your own promo.
Yep. Sean McCauliffe, you mentioned him earlier.
So Sean McCauliffe, so that's a 3-part episode series on the ABC TV. Starts on the 21st of next week, 21st of July, and there's 3 every week. Yep. We're on the second one. If we're on it, I don't know if we're on it or not yet.
Let's just be positive.
Yeah.
And then there's a big one I see right here on the 29th of July.
On the 29th of July, we're going to launch the Middy Show. Hey, Wes, can you play the intro at all?
Hey?
No.
Oh, no. We can't see him through the window there, but he's probably on.
So Tom Baker and I, we did an intro for the Middy Show yesterday.
Is this thing on? Alright, ready to go. Yeah, what?
Ages ago, but it's anyway, these things take time.
You're doing some filming.
So more filming than Brian McVernon. Yeah, Brian
He's
McVernon.
a local legend, isn't he?
Brian McVernon.
Rockabilly.
Oh, we love
Champion.
Brian McVernon.
He's
Yeah.
good.
He's on the 5th of August. The Osprey brand is coming out on the 16th of August.
Nick Rashke
on the 26th.
Another local legend. He did a song every day through the early parts of COVID. 50, 60 odd songs.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
Bit more filming. September. Don't know who that guy is. Father's Day. Jacqueline.
So Jacqueline Touch, the other thing with music is sometimes you can just be a muso at home, you know what I mean? You may not perform yet, or you may not have a profile or anything, but Jacqueline, she's my she works at the gym I go to, and my God, this Irish lass, she became the national champion, dumbbell. So she's on. Phoenix Pritchard, of course, cool young local lad. And then I've just put there Tex Perkins. All right, Tex?
Coming back. We're going to get Texas. We're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
We will make this
And then
happen.
I put Spy versus Spy, so I hope you guys are up for it as well.
And we got October long weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of other things. So, you know what? That post-it note, that's
Big
awesome.
post-it note.
Is there anything else you want to add? Some future information for Dee Faith, for the Middy Show, for the Dickhead.
What we're doing, if you're listening to this now, if you want to come over and just like the Middy Show, we're going to do a whole promo thing coming up, share, all the rest of it. I'm sure we can organise something for the likers and shares, but basically it's just so that we can all uplift each other. So
yep. And
keep
promote
an ear out.
Australian music.
Promote Australian music. Well, promote local music first.
Yep.
Newy music, because
it's Australian music.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
local, national, and
see how
big you become.
See how it goes.
Hey, that's awesome.
But it's really good. This is good.
It's goal setting. You got a good
Yeah.
timeline of what you want to do and what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
And I'd call that a pretty short timeline. Like as big as that is, it's bigger than me. If I lie down sideways,
Yeah.
it's bigger than 5 foot nothing.
Yeah.
It's a big post-it note, D. That's a cracker. I like it.
Anyway, it's a tool. It's a handy tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bit of direction. I've run out of things to say.
Well, we've been yakking for an hour, so
which is generally what we go for. But the
Yeah.
show generally goes for about an hour. So, I guess in a nutshell, just to come back right to the very beginning, is that we're about networking. Bellados Music's about networking. We have a strong association with the guys at Big Apache, with Marcus Wright. Marcus is my mentor.
Yeah.
The role at in my workplace, a creative workplace, at TAFE there in the music department. Then interesting people like Dee, and obviously she is a musician, but we're talking about creative mentoring as a whole. the background of supporting each other and helping each other. So if you know of anyone that wants to come on and chat with us, or go and play some talk about music on Dee's The Middy Show. I come back to that. Remember the Middy Show, Middy, M-I-D-D-Y. You know, we're all about trying to get each other in a bubble and push it out to the world.
And that's it. And if we all do it together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Support each other. I got me. No, I didn't wear it today, so I'm not going to say it. But I got a big shout out to Wicco. All of my mentors, Marcus Lee, Stevie Edmonds. Steve Edmonds is the reason I went full time in the industry. A massive fan of Steve. I remember talking to Steve Edmonds at the Talara Bowling Club. He did a Hendrickson Hero show with Kevin Borich, Mal Stick and Steve. And Steve come on and I was like, I've seen him play before, but how good's this guy? He's loud and proud. I reckon he blew them all away. Kevin was loud, Mal Stick's great and all. He had a bit of an illness at the time, was coming out of it. But Steve, and I was, come backstage, he said. I said, yeah, I want to chat. I said, how old are you, Steve? And at the time, he was 34. And I was, he was 35, I was 34. And I went, yes, I can still do this. And I'll never forget that night. And that was a turning point in me going, I just want to do this full time. And then I had my midlife crisis and chucked it all in into and he did music and all that. But big shout out to Stevie Edmonds. If you're watching this, Steve, love your guts, mate. Being creative, supporting each other. Wanted to thank Dee Faith, author of the Dickhead list and 2 other books, presenter of the Middy Show, academic, scholar, Mosher from Hell. She's actually in the film clip.
Yeah, I am in your lens.
The film clip, she's part of it. And overall, super cool human. Wearing a Belladose music shirt. Don't forget to like the page, Belladose. As soon as we hit 550, anyone that's shared the page, I'm going to throw you all into a hat. And I actually might call Dee. So pick a number between 1 and how many, and whatever number that is, that's the person that gets the shirt.
Cool, awesome. And the book.
Oh, it's right. We're going to throw the book in as well.
I'll leave that. I'll even sign it.
Yep. So love yous all. Thank you for tuning in. That was a Jeff Finnick. Love yous all.
Love
Middy, M-I-D-D-Y.
Yeah.
So. A part of, I guess, coming in and research, just do some research about yourself and what it is you want to achieve. And I said to do a poll, do an online survey, Dee, try and sort some stuff out. So I did the survey, and one of the questions in the survey was, what does the Middy Show remind you of? And my response was, Ray Martin. I can't read the Midday Show. The Middy Show.
Well, it'd be good if it is the Middy Show or the midday on TV. That would be good.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I just had to bring it up.
It was.
I was
Did you
laughing
do
at
Ray Martin?
myself.
Yeah,
read between the lines. Read between each letter, Lenny. You might be able to work it out. But the Middy Show. Awesome.
Classic.
Dee Faith.
Thanks, Lenny.
Once more, the Dickhead list. Go and buy it. Download it. Is it online? Has it got a digital
it's
copy?
an ebook. I might even wait till I get home. Be about half an hour, and I'll put on like a viewer special.
Yeah, awesome. Yep.
Thanks, guys.
And don't forget to like Dee's The Middy Show.
The Middy Show.
I'll tell you what, let's get you up to some likes and we might throw in another t-shirt and another book as part of it.
Alright, let's do it.
Let's get the likes up to that.
Yeah, man.
And tune in and we'll cross-promote some stuff when Dee's got her show launched and she's got some things jumping
So the
up.
29th of this month, it's all launched. It's all good to go. Well, it's not actually just yet, but it will be by then. But
I'll be subscribing to the podcast, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'll tune in and have a listen. I like listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
I've got a few. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Share this around after you've watched it or when you watch it later on. Appreciate it. Stay safe. Be creative. Love yous all.
Thanks.
Good on you, Dee. Thank you. That was good chin, mate.
Yeah.
You're a genius.